The way that I think people can be more inclusive in their everyday interactions is being very mindful that everyone has different experiences. So if people are talking about certain challenges that they're having or certain experiences that they've had that has led to certain decisions, I think it's being mindful of that and recognising that people do have different ways of approaching things because their experiences are different. And I think when you are open-minded in that way, it is easier to be inclusive in your day-to-day interactions.
I think calling out negative behaviour is a big part of it, sadly, still. So yeah, being able to identify when people are acting inappropriately or with any kind of even disguised prejudice. I think it's quite important to be able to point that out tactfully, but also quite forcefully as well.
Something that I do with my team is encourage them to take on development opportunities, and even they may not have actually thought of that as an option, but to consider that maybe in the future. Another thing I do with my team is share further information as to why decisions are being made within the wider business, just so they can have an appreciation of why that decision was made, and also an opportunity for them to express any concerns or their thoughts or ideas around that subject as well.
People should be more accepting of the role, not based on any agenda or, well, literally not based on their gender. If they're in charge, they're in charge. And the respect, that's my philosophy in most things anyway. If you just respect each other, no matter who you are or what you are, it's not really about the hierarchy within the business. It's about respecting the people at the bottom and the people at the top and all working together.
I think just maybe putting themselves in other people's shoes rather than just seeing everything from their own point of view, I guess. Like, everyone has different experiences, so yeah, I guess just not living in your own world and actually trying to take yourself outside of that and yeah, see things from other people's point of view because they're probably having a different experience to you.
I think it's sort of important to recognise when sort of adversity's been overcome. So if there are any circumstances where sort of new ground's been broken or circumstances where someone's had to work against any kind of sort of prejudice position or intolerance or anything along those lines, then yeah, it makes sense to actually celebrate that in addition to supporting people in doing it.
So I think it's really important that we empower our women. So we can have regular meetings, talk about success, things like that. I've had chats with Nicole, our director, where she started and how she got to where she was, and I found that really inspiring as a woman in the workplace to help me go forwards.
So to celebrate women's achievements, I think from my perspective, so I'm the social media guy, so I think on social media we've got a pretty big obligation to bring the staff into it, and as part of this year and with the rebrand and stuff, we're going to be introducing the team more on social media. And I think when it gets to things like work anniversaries or in particular people doing well in whatever their line of work is, I think celebrating it on social media, not just for our company but for every company, and making sure, I mean, it can be for women, it can be for men, but everyone is celebrated in a way that's they feel like they are recognised. Because I think a problem with a lot of things is people work hard across most jobs and sometimes they don't feel recognised, and that's why people generally get unhappy. So I'd say yeah, just recognising, and from my perspective and my job, I will be posting and making sure women feel like they are valued.
The way you reward and recognise is through getting paid more, right? And it's about looking at just making sure that that's, so if a man's performing really well and gets rewarded for that, that the same process is happening for women as well.
Share successful stories to everyone in the business, just to allow people to recognise that the opportunities are out there for other women within the business.
I think just like speaking to them and understanding their goals and aims in life and in work, I suppose. So if you don't ask them what they're hoping to achieve, then how can you praise them when they achieve it? So yeah, I guess just finding out what their goals are, so when they do hit them, you're in a position where you can say, well done,